Have you ever seen a card that makes you go, oh yeah, when you see it like right away, but then after a moment of looking at it, you go, wait, something ain't adding up here. That's what just happened to me. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. I hope you are doing well this Friday, I suppose, or whatever day you're watching, it's up to you. I do want to quickly note that YouTube kind of glorched out yesterday and unsubbed a bunch of people. It happens every once in a while, so it's no big deal. Just check and make sure that you're subscribed if you already wanted to be. No worries, just wanted to point it out because I'll have people go, wait a minute, why did I get unsubscribed from you? I don't know, YouTube decided we shouldn't be friends, but we don't have to listen to them. We can sneak around behind YouTube's back. All right, before I get too carried away with that nonsense, let's just talk about the little guy who's been here on the screen with me while I've been running my mouth, because we're going back in time. Strap on your time helmets. I've got no editing budget or time for this channel, so just pretend, because I'm not doing it. I'm not, like, there's not actually going to be a helmet. But we are going all the way back to 1994, to when I started Magic the Gathering. This is our reference point for today's modern, did I just say modern? Derp. Double Masters. I'm like, Modern Horizons 4. So, Double Masters 2. Sure, this is the second one. Why not? I'm just making stuff up anyways. That's what people say in the comment. You just make stuff up. You take forever to get to the point. Do I? Do I take forever to get to the point? A survey says, Family Feud? I don't hear the buzzer. I guess yes. Survey says I do waste time. Guess I'm doing it now. It's funny to me how it drives some people crazy. It's like, dude, if you think I take too long to get to the point, just lots of stuff you could do with your time. Anyways, if you would stop interrupting me with your thoughts that I can hear, apparently, I just want to talk about Apprentice Wizard, okay? Is that okay with you? Is that all right? Do you want to just continue watching what might just be a mental breakdown? Who even knows what's going on right now? Anyhow, Apprentice Wizard is from the Dark. I found the Dark to be one of the most flavorful sets that I encountered the first time around. Now, this guy doesn't really add to the flavor of the Dark. The Dark is supposed to be just that, like a dark, scary monsters lurk around the corner. I don't know, kind of like a 1900s vibe. If you've seen like the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen with the, hey, check it out, we got Jekyll and Hyde and Jack the Ripper and all that kind of stuff going on, you know? Like those sort of things. It's got that kind of a dark vibe where it's like, you can't trust everything that's going on, but Apprentice Wizard never came across that way. Honestly, he's always felt really goofy, but going back and looking at him through the lens of like how Magic works now, he's even more interesting because this is blue mana acceleration. This is blue mana ramp, right? You don't normally see that. So Apprentice Wizard is 2 blue and 1 for a 0/1. You pay 1 blue and tap them, add 3 mana to your mana pool. Now it's 3 colorless mana. This is depicted in this particular printing of the card as the number 3. But nowadays we get the little diamonds, which looks more impressive. When you have symbols lined up like that, just makes it seem like you're getting more, at least to my primitive animal brain. So we've got an Apprentice Wizard, which is, I mean, it's an absurd concept when you look at the artwork. First of all, I like that this artwork was done by Dan Fraser, who is the same dude who did like the Moxes for Magic the Gathering. So the background is that like weird sort of hazy whatever. In all honesty, it looks like this wizard might have been hitting the wizard pipe a little too hard. Like when you look at him, he looks all goofy. He's staring down at this wand in his hand like, whoa. It's like, dude, you're an Apprentice Wizard? You're like mega old already, though. You know what I mean? Shouldn't Apprentice be a bit younger, maybe? Like, I don't know. Is this supposed to be a world where the wizards are like mega old and stop aging? Or is this guy just halfway inept? Now, I do like the fact that he's capable of generating a lot of power, but in a somewhat uncontrolled way, which kind of feels like an apprentice, right? First of all, he can't generate mana on his own. So you could picture a scenario with Apprentice Wizards where, like, essentially the instructor, the mentor wizard, I guess, unless you're a wizard in, like, an academy. Apprenticeship is usually, like, apprentice and master or journeyman, someone who's a higher level version of them, higher level skills, you know what I mean, knows what they're doing. So I can picture this guy, basically the way that it works is he can't draw mana on his own, right? Because to draw on mana, you're a planeswalker and you end up linking with the planes, right? Like there's a lot of different magical abilities out there that are just like tap to do a damage to whatever target or something like that. But in terms of like making mana, it's usually represented as elves that are really connected to the land drawing out mana, and otherwise it's usually just planeswalkers that can do it, where they can actually tap directly into the mana sources of land. So this apprentice wizard can generate 3 times as much power as a land can, but in a very uncontrolled way. They haven't attuned themselves to the magical energies enough to be able to like flow magic into themselves on their own. However, when they get here you go, I'm gonna like, the instructor goes ahead, puts their hand on their shoulder and like infuses the blue mana into them. And then they're able to blast that out as triple strength, but it's also colorless mana. So it's been stripped of part of what like makes it that particular type of magic. You can't use colorless mana to pay colored mana costs, right? So an apprentice wizard can't summon up another apprentice wizard because you can't pay the 2 blue kind of scenario either way, although that would be weird. I'm going to summon another me! I'm in a silly mood today. It's probably pretty obvious, but you know what? Overall, today's been going pretty good. I like the flavor behind the apprentice wizard. I think it's a funky concept. I think it's weird that he's old, but when you look at him, he kind of looks a bit dopey and like the 0-1 works. So overall, the flavor concept behind an apprentice wizard is cool, but blue getting to ramp on its own like that is very, very bizarre. I actually played this card back in the day. My favorite thing to do, speaking of blue doing things that it shouldn't be able to do, my favorite thing to do with Apprentice Wizard was like a 4th turn Amnesia, right? Because the Apprentice Wizard, it just feels so harmless. You put it out and you're like, I'm a little goober, I'm a little 0-1 goober. And nobody was afraid of Apprentice Wizard. Like back in the day, to make people afraid of your mana potential, you had to do something like put out a mana flare that just doubles the production of all your lands. Like something that makes insane amounts of mana. You're like, oh no, he's gonna fireball and disintegrate me. He's gonna hit me with some big, like, damaging X spell and just wipe me out. That's what would freak people out. Nobody cared about the Apprentice Wizard. And then all of a sudden you play Amnesia, which, by the way, is one of the most unsettling artworks in all of Magic. It's so gross. Like, who develops a spell like this? The whole card, this clearly should have been a black card, right? So it's 3 blue and 3. Look at target player's hand. It's hilarious because under the like new wording, if this was worded this way, it would look like you can look at one player's hand and then target player discards all non-land cards in his hand. So you can basically be like, I'm gonna choose you and look at your hand, and I'm gonna choose you, you discard all non-land cards in your hand. But it's really, you're only picking one target for this card. You get to look at their hand, make them pitch everything that's not a land. The flavor text says, when one has witnessed the unspeakable, 'tis sometimes better to forget. I'm guessing this dude just saw like the VIP prices for boosters. Either way, the artwork's really unsettling, dude. That hole in the head, that's crazy. And just the random, like, why did you jab needles into him too? It's so unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like, you already put a hole in his head and made him like lose his ability to connect with anything other than base, like the lands. And now you're just like, yeah, by the way, I have some needles jammed in your neck too, bro. What is the deal? Anyways, the card that I saw today is the reprint of Apprentice Wizard. Okay, so it's the exact same card. Now it's printed at common, which means it's now available in pauper, which is pretty cool. Because as far as I understand, the Apprentice Wizard originally was like uncommon, but the way uncommons worked back then is they had multiple levels of uncommonality. So uncommon 1, uncommon 2, uncommon 3, uncommon 4. And like some of those uncommonalities are considered rares. So the Apprentice Wizard, depending on who you talk to, might be considered a rare. Now, as a common, you can use either version. You can use the dopey one, or this one, which was done by, the artwork is done by Richard Kane Ferguson. Richard Kane Ferguson is literally my absolute favorite Magic artist. I love a ton of different Magic artists. There are so many talented individuals, but Richard Kane Ferguson has always been my favorite Magic artist since all the way back in the day. His art is so distinctive and sometimes bizarre, right? Like you just look at it and you go, I'm gonna need a minute. Like, hold on, let me figure out what you're even doing here. And that's the same way I felt when I saw this. But immediately it was like, oh, Richard Kane Ferguson! I'm so glad! I am so glad that they still use him for artwork here or there, man. It's awesome. So, this is the Apprentice Wizard shown. Now, this guy feels younger, right? On one hand. So that makes sense in terms of, okay, you're an Apprentice Wizard. On top of that, what he's doing here with like magic, it feels like magic's just kind of blasting out everywhere in an uncontrolled way, you know, where you're just like, okay, what's going on? Like on one side, you've got what looks like a little more bluish, watery, like, right? And then as it goes along, it's kind of fracturing out into something like, it doesn't look the same if you look under his arm. And then when you look upwards, it's so hard to talk about this guy's art because it's so crazy amazing, right? Like, what is going on with this guy's hands? Why does he have an extra hand attached to his hand? It's like, yes, my hand now with more hand. He's the double hand on one side, and you can see the hand on the other side. I don't know if this artwork was originally meant to be Apprentice Wizard or if they gave him a description for something else, because the artwork it looks like it was made in 2019. So I don't know if they were just like sitting, like they had this artwork sitting around and were like, bro, you know what? Richard Kane Ferguson did this awesome artwork. Why don't we find somewhere to put it? And then another employee said, that's genius, because Richard Kane Ferguson's artwork is so intensely different that most people aren't even going to be able to tell. They won't be like, well, that doesn't look like an Apprentice Wizard. This looks like an Apprentice Wizard to me. What's he doing 100%? I don't know. But I don't think he does either. I don't know, dude. I really, really dig this. I actually remember playing in a tournament back in the day, ancient LGS Memories of Joy, where the store owner would just come up with random like rules for the next tournament. It's like, next week, we're going to have an artist like only tournament where you pick one artist and all the cards in your deck have to be from that artist. Like, that's a fun concept, an interesting random deck restriction. And in nowadays world, you would have people like, if it was something on Arena, they'd be like, we're calculating the best deck based on each artist. But back then, things weren't like that, right? We didn't even go on the internet to look at Magic cards and nothing. So everybody just built like decks based on art they love. What an amazing concept for a tournament. Now, my deck, unfortunately, was really, really mean and awful to play against. So I was playing like black-blue because there were a bunch of awesome Richard Kane Ferguson counterspells. And that was a nice combination where I went, wait, you know, all these counterspells, boomerang, drain life, all this great stuff. So I mashed together a deck that did really, really well. I can't recall if I won or just placed highly, but either way, very happy about it. Now, I know that I know that I said that I have a problem with this card, but first I just want to address the flavor text, and then we'll get to that. The flavor text says, aspiring wizards must demonstrate basic levels of willpower and mental discipline to even be considered for an apprenticeship. So that's a pretty straightforward flavor text. It makes sense. I mean, this feels way more like an apprentice wizard than the original artwork that we looked at, although I will admit the original artwork had its own charm. Now, the original artwork also fit with the 0-1 concept, and that's the something's not right here moment on this card for me. That is the fact that it's a 0-1. Like, pretty much every human. For example, what's that card? Come on, man. It's Beauty and the Beast. What is the name of the card? Noble Beast? Something like that. Loyal Beast? I can't remember. It's the dude from Eldraine, where it's basically like 3 mana for a 5/5, but it can't attack unless you have it a 1/1, right? And then you pay 1 green and it generates a 1/1 token, like instead. Now that 1/1 token is like a lady in a village just picking up like some apples or something in a basket. And that's a 1/1. Just a regular lady. You know what I mean? And you're going to tell me that this, like, look at the dude in the artwork. That's not a 0-1 dude. He's not a dopey wizard. What's this? Is this a wand? You know what I mean? Like, this is a regular, everyday person, bare minimum. So it makes the 0-1 feel really weird. Where you're like, it doesn't make sense that this guy can literally inflict no damage. He has an extra hand! What? Like, she should be even more brutal. I don't know, man. Like, for me, I just looked at the card and went, dude, I absolutely love this artwork. And then my brain went, yeah, he's 0-1. That really doesn't feel right on this card. And then I thought to myself, wait, why didn't I care about the previous printing? And I went and looked back and I was like, that's why it looks so just doop-a-doop. I'm 01. I'm an old dude who can't do anything anymore. And it's like, okay. I mean, I could see the lady from Beauty and the Beast beating up this old man, but I think that the Beauty and the Beast would be taught a song as old as time by this dude. Get it? That's a Beauty and the Beast reference. I know my audience. I know you guys all like, Belle. There you go. Oh, I thought I didn't know the name, but I know it's Belle, so eat that one. And Sebastian. Oh, wait, no, that's the crab from Little Mermaid. There we go. All right. Anyways, clearly at this point, I'm just wasting everybody's time. So maybe I should do it a little more. No, it's all good. So thanks for coming by, everybody. If you like magic lore, I just released another Joy Lore video over on Fantasy Geographic, which is my new Magic the Gathering and possibly D&D lore channel, and that's getting you primed up for the super awesome new Joy Lore that's going to drop this weekend, where things get crazy. People like it. The Joy story starts off slow rolling, but then things get intense, like almost like psychologically torture level intense. You know what I'm saying? So get on over there if you enjoy that kind of stuff. Like, comment, subscribe here if you like what I'm doing. And if you don't, I guess don't do those things. Why are you still here? What's going on? You okay? Do you need a hug? All right. Now that all that's been said, if you love what I'm doing, jump on my Patreon. Thanks for coming by, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow.